Hey everyone, Irit here with a new process video for Pink and Paper, and this is my first project, the first out of two this month, using the Maggie Holmes Flourish collection. And this is such a classic Maggie Holmes, beautiful vintage, lots of gorgeous florals collection. I really enjoyed making this, and I kind of had an idea in mind as I was showing you as I was going through the products in the little haul video that I filmed, which you can also find on my channel. I kind of noticed a few of these foiled papers in the 6x8 paper pad. They kind of jumped at me. I remembered that there were a few that were kind of lighter and some with pink. So I decided to really focus on these colors for my design here. And the basic idea is like super simple. I'm taking a 12x12 background paper, and probably one of my favorites from the ones that I got, and then the base will be these three papers, but I'm going to chop up the third paper so that I can use it on my background as well as my photo mat. And that's one of my go-to techniques, is to use my photo mat, the choice of photo mat, the choice of pattern paper for the photo mat in another place on my layout as well. It's part of, repetition. It's just a design principle that really helps bring things together, and of course it makes the design cohesive, and it just, looks better, but it also makes it easier to choose your supplies. So, I didn't have to figure out which paper I wanted to use as a photo mat. I just went to one of the three that I was already using here. Another thing that I do is, if I do kind of a 12x12 mat for a layout, then I will do, like many times I would gut it and then use some of that for my photo mat. So just a little tip if you're doing something similar, to make the most out of your papers. And now I'm going to adhere these two strips in a way that kind of makes it appear like they are one long paper. So I want to get that all lined up and give that illusion so nobody will know that it's actually just two pieces. So it's also really maximizing your supplies, and that was just a bit too high, so I lowered it. And I think this is the most I'm going to tell you about this layout, because I really enjoy chatting about other stuff. So I'll just say the necessary things. You will find in the description box the link to the Pink and Paper shop, where I got all my goodies from. They are in Slovenia in Europe, but they ship worldwide. So make sure you check that out for the supplies I'm using here, and many more. And and I will have another layout this month using the same collection. So the photo is of my best friend and me in Vienna, and my best friend lives actually in the US. She left excuse me, well, I think it started from, she did like a 1-year exchange student program in North Carolina, and she's a food engineer, very bright, and she did, I think, her third year in her bachelor's degree. She did her third year in North Carolina University, and then she came back to Israel, finished her degree, and then went back to North Carolina for her master's and later PhD and everything. So, and yeah, and she's been living in the States, I guess now like 11 years, should be, something like that. And I have visited her several times, and there may or may not have been several trips to Joanne Michael's Crafts Direct, that's in Minnesota. And yeah, you know, I mean, so she's like my sister, we're best friends. We've been friends for 23 years now, so we met when we were 15. And if you're not interested in these things, they have nothing to do with scrapbooking. I'm just telling you the background story here. You can mute me. And if there's something that is not clear about my process, then please leave me a comment, a question. I'm happy to answer. But yeah, I want to talk about my best friend now. So you can tell me in the comments if your best friend also lives, you know, on the other side of the world. So yeah, we met in high school, like I guess, sophomore year. I think I know, like, all my education in, you know, English. The English language is from TV shows. Yep. So, kids, watch TV. You learn a lot. So, yeah, we were together in high school. Actually, we were 1 year in the same class, and then and then we weren't in the same class, but we stayed close friends. And then we actually served together. Pardon my throat there. We served together in the army. And yeah, we had a great time. And then we both took a year off before we went to university. And we kind of, at some point, I don't think we actually worked together at the sunglasses store in the Grand Canyon, which is a mall in Haifa, our hometown in Israel. But during that year that we took off between the army and our university, yeah, we both worked in the same store, but not at the same time. So yeah. Anyway, and then we went, you know, we saved some money, and then we went together on a 2 months trip to the United States, and it was fantastic. She just turned 21, I wasn't 21, and I'm going to tell you now a secret, and this is going with you to your grave, people. So, the thing is, I was born on a winter's day. No, I'm just kidding, but I was born on November 5th, okay? 79, yes, I know. A long time ago. So I was born on November 5th, and the way that you write your date, you people from the US, I know when you write the date, you write the month first. So, you know, my actual birthday, as it's written in my passport, I think, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's written with the letters. I'm not sure. But the point is that I sat in some table in Vegas, and I was gambling before I was 21. And, you know, I looked super young. So, of course, I was, you know, carded and everything and asked. And I got away with it because of my birthday. But now that I'm telling the story, I'm not sure that I did get away with it. Because I can't remember if the passport, it probably says, you know, November to avoid such mistakes. Anyway, so that was in the summer. So if people thought that my birthday was in May, you know, the 5th of November, if they thought it was in May, then, you know, in theory, I would be 21 already. Anywho, this is so not interesting. Back to the story. So we traveled together in the US. It was an amazing trip. We flew to LA. We did some of the, you know, we drove to the Grand Canyon, and we saw Bryce Canyon and Zion, and it was amazing. We did Las Vegas, we went to San Francisco, which is beautiful. Then we drove to Seattle, where we had a friend living there at the time, also from Israel. So we also saw a little bit of Seattle. Then we flew to the East Coast, and the thing was that basically we planned that trip around the Counting Crows. So my best friend is a huge Counting Crows fan. I'm not sure how she feels about them now. I think she will always love them. But yeah, at the time she was really, really into them. And we planned the whole trip because the way it was, you know, when we were in the West Coast, they were on the East Coast, and then when we were on the East Coast, they were in the West Coast. So the only place we could see them was in Washington. Well, it wasn't actually in Washington. It was in Maryland somewhere. So we flew after around a month on the West Coast. We flew to Washington. We stayed there for a few miserable days in a youth hostel, which, you know, we have low standards, but this was pretty low even for us. It was super, super crowded, and we were there for like 3 nights. One night we slept in like this common living room where everyone was just on the floor in sleeping bags. This huge room with just tons of people. The second night, the first night was so bad that we actually opted in the second night to sleep in the hallway because it was less crowded. You know, people were like walking all over us, but it was still kind of less crowded and quiet from some point. And then the third night, we finally scored a bed. And I remember my bed, it wasn't like bunk beds with 2 levels. They had like 3 levels. And I remember that, you know, I was like sleeping with the ceiling, like I'm showing you now with my hand, how close the ceiling was to my face, but you can't see that. So anyway, yeah, I don't mind like sleeping in tents. It's all good. And yeah, but that was not that great. But, you know, it's an experience to tell. So we, the whole thing to like going to Washington and everything was so that we could go see Counting Crows in Maryland. And we drove there and we saw them, and it was great. And yeah, another thing about what I remember from those days in Washington, we had super crappy weather, and we went to see Bring It On in the cinema. And if you remember that movie, you know, the cheerleading movie with Kirsten Dunst. So that was a fun experience. And I have to tell you that I don't know how representative that experience was to the cinematic experience in the United States. However, because I've only seen, I think, that one movie in the States. I don't remember if I don't think I went to the cinema any other time in any of my other visits. So mark that. However, I have seen many movies in Israel and in Austria and in London, and it was nothing like seeing that movie in the US. And I'll tell you why. Because the lovely audience was cheering from like all the cheering parts in the movie. So people were like clapping when it ended, and they really laughed out loud a lot more. And yeah, just the reactions of the audience were so much more out there than anything I am used to. It was, you know, it was really fun because it really gets you in a good mood when everyone is like so entertained. But so that was that experience in Washington. And then we ended our trip with 3 weeks in New York. Well, actually Brooklyn, but that still counts because my friend has family there. So we stayed with a relative, which means that it was cheap, and that's how we managed to stay 3 weeks in Brooklyn. And it was amazing. You know, we would take the subway every day and just go somewhere in Manhattan and just walk around the whole day. and it was so great. And I remember we would also sometimes see Law and Order at home because it's one of our favorite shows. Oh, and also I remember that we were watching the Olympic Games. This was the summer of 2000, and yeah, there were the Olympic Games. I don't remember where they were that year, but I remember we were watching them as we were in New York, so that was fun. And yeah, and then she went to the Technion, which is like a technical university in my hometown in Israel. I went to medicine school, and then in 2004, we went out for her birthday. She's born in July, and we went out to just a coffee place in Israel, and we took this photo. And there is actually a video about this on my channel of this photo, scrapbooking that event, because this was in 2004, in the summer of 2004. It was her birthday, and we were also saying goodbye because she was about to leave for that 1 year in university, and I was going to a student exchange program in Palermo, Sicily, where I met my husband, and her US journey started. So yeah, that's all the time we have now for this story hour. Thanks for watching. Bye.